and I am live with stable things. Things seem stable. YouTube also knows that I am live with an excellent connection. That is excellent, and I have my tmux running. I can just detach and create new tmux for competitive programming, new scp, and this one will be named uh, terminal, and I will create another one. And how do I create another? Yes, like that. And how do I rename? Like that. New not projects, competitive programming 900 level, and the same in that one, 900 level, and new. Yep. And simply start competitive programming. And shit, I already have a viewer. That is crazy. 900 level, make it divisible by 25. That is the question that we left off at. And these three questions, yeah, I'll have to do them. Make it divisible by 3. So in this, the question is, I've been given a number and I can remove some letters from here, and the end goal is to make this number divisible by 25, and to make this number divisible by 25. So at the end, I could have a few things, either 00, 25, 50, 75. Those are the only 4 things I could have. So I can take this in as an integer. Nope, not as an integer, but as a string, so that I can traverse this better. And string s in s. Now I want to see, am I getting s fine? Am I getting the number as a string? And yes, I seem to be getting the number as a string. Yes, I am getting the number as a string. Now, what I would like to do is go from back to the front and see the minimum number of things I can remove. Well, if it, yeah, I need to have at the end either. At the end, I can have either 0 or a 5. And if I have a 0, then before a 0, I would like to have either a 0 or a 5. And if I have a 5 at the end, then I would like to have either a 2 or a 7. And how do I decide which I'm going with, or I'm going with? Either a 0 or a 5. Hmm. Nope. For int, not int, or auto c equals s dot end, and s dot c while is, wait, shit, that will not happen because I cannot, yeah, if it becomes equal to the start, then I would not be able to go there. Yeah. So this would not be a fine way to traverse a string. Instead, I could do for int I equals not 0 but s dot size minus 1, and where I is greater than equal to 0, and then I plus plus. And wait a minute, I will be right back. I will just right back. I have to go. I'll be right back in 2 minutes. And I am back, and now you guys can see me. Wait, hey, I just finished my 12th class, 12th grade, and I'm planning to join a triple ITs for my further education. I don't have any skills background. I did my 12th in physical education, so I want to start career in CSE. I don't know. I want to do CSE. Well, people rarely have a full roadmap till the end, so you have to go with the first thing that you find, and that first thing can be this CS50. This is a course that is taught by Harvard, and it is free and you can just take it. This is what I did when I finished my 12th class, and yes, this is what I recommend to anyone who asks how to get into programming. Now, yeah, I have to traverse from the end to the start, and currently I'm at the last character. And okay, I will take int L equals 0, and yeah, int L equals 0, and if C equals I 0, shit, if L 0 and int L5 equals 0, or I can just take shit, that does not matter if I'm taking bool or not. If last is 0, initially 0, and last is 5, initially 0. Now, if C equals 0, or like the character 0, then L0 equals 1. Else, if C equals 5, then L5 equals 1. Oh, C is nothing. Shit, is SI. Instead of SI. And if that happens, then I would, yes, would I want 0? Yes, I would want 0 and 5 in the case that L0 is already 1. And I would also like to keep track, no, I would not like to keep track of the number of places that I have already passed. Right. And got out initially 0. If it is 0, and I will see if L0, if L0 is already 1 and I see another 0, then we are good to go. I can do got out equals I, and not break. Else, if it is not 0, if L0 is not 0, then it is the first time I'm here, then I will do L0 becomes equal to 1. And in this case, if L0, if I have L0 and currently I'm if I have already seen a 0 and currently I am at 5, then I know 50 is divisible by this, then 50 is divisible by 25, then we can get out, and break and get out is a number that comes from there, right? Shit, instead I have and remove initially 0, and yeah, get out is nothing. It is literally nothing. And shit, removed plus and removed if L0, then this, and also curly braces if L0, but if it is the first time that I'm seeing 5, then what I can do is remove remove the 5. No, what I can do is L5 becomes equal to 1. That means I have already seen 0 and I have seen 5. And now if I see else if Si equals either 2 or 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 Li equals 7, that thing, and at the same time I have L5. In that case I'll just break. I don't know what is the problem. Okay, which is the extra bracket for when I wait, okay, I have an extra bracket somewhere. This one is for this one is for this one should be uh, now after coming out, or it could also be the case that I've gotten to the start of the string, and in that case I would like to remove first the strings from the start, and if there are any zeros then I would not remove the zeros. Right, so in that case I would like to count non-zero characters. If zero, then this, or I can simply count zeros here. In zeros, initially 0, and here when I'm checking for zeros, zeros plus plus. Now at the end, if I break at a position that is if I have gotten to the start of the string, that is I have gone through every character, then removed. If removed will not be removed will be equal to the number of characters size. If remove is not equal to size, then we have a solution, and the solution would be -1. See out remove -1 and line removed -1, and if it is equal, else if it is not, then cout removed, no, cout as dot size, remove everything except the zeros, and like that. I think that should work. That should work, but it didn't work. It is totally horrible. Thanks, analytics. Oh yeah, 5 views there have been. Yeah, stream seems fine. What is wrong? Z. Why am I getting numbers like that? Removed is dot size -0. Why is size like that? Removed -1 and that. While shit, of course, shit, of course. CVP run now, and we are good to go. Let's go and submit this one. B, make it divisible by 25. Documents, not you, what the heck? Documents, programming, competitive, competitive programming. B, make it divisible by 0. make it divisible by 0, and this might not work, but we will see. Running test 1 and accepted. Shit. First try. Okay, that is cool. Luntik and subsequences. 1 second. Okay. Luntik came out for a morning stroll and found an array A of length n. Uh, an array A of length n. He calculated the sum S of the elements of the array. Okay, A is the name of the array, n is the length. He calculated the sum S of the elements of the array. Luntik calls a subsequence of the array A nearly full if the sum of the numbers in the subsequence is equal to S minus 1. If the sum of the numbers in that subsequence is equal to S minus 1. Luntik really wants to know the number of nearly full subsequence of the array A. Nearly full subsequences of the array A, but he needs to come home, so he asks you to solve that problem. A subsequence X is a sequence X is a subsequence of a sequence Y, and if X can be obtained from Y by deletion of several, possibly 0 or all elements. Okay, 5, the subsequence would be 2 to 5, 2 to 5, and there is no subsequence in this, right? Output for each test case print number of nearly full subsequences of the array. Okay, here there are two subsequences. Here there is only one, but shit, there are supposed to be four. And wait a minute, I will have to go again. I will be right back. And yep, I'm right back. Shit, yes, subsequence. I have to find the number of subsequence that this would work. Okay, I can delete numbers from anywhere. Okay, that makes sense. Here I can, okay, I can remove 1 and 2 elements at a time. So I can, hmm, introducing a number of any number of ones. I can either remove. Okay, the number of ones I have is the number of subsequences I have, and then the number of zeros that I have in the string would just mean I can multiply the number of ones by 2, and that would be my output. In this case, like I have one subsequence, just one, because I have one, and then I can multiply that one by 2. No, not 2, but the number of zeros that I have, I can remove that, have 1 0, have both 0. Shit, it is 1, it is equal to the 2. Okay, number of ones, yeah, okay. Number of ones multiplied by 2 raised to the power of number of zeros that I have. That should be the answer. Let's see. Boilerplate and int n in n and I start at 0 and yeah, int 0 and 1, and both are initially equal to 0, and if, okay, and also another integer c. Cn to C, and if C equals 0, which is just if not C, then 0 plus plus, and yeah, else if C equals 1, then 1 plus plus, and C out 1 multiplied by 2, or power, with the power function, 2 raised to the power of zeros that I have. Let's see, that should be the answer, and that is the answer. Where is B Luntik? Choose file. B Luntik permutation. Shit, that is taking more time than it should. Just like submitting the answer is taking time, and it shouldn't. Ideally, it shouldn't. I got a wrong answer. Let's see the test case on which I got the wrong answer. Wrong output format. Expected integer, but this song. Shit, what the fuck is that? Uh, okay, integer int 6 answer equals 1 multiplied by power 2 dot 0, and here uh, return answer, or I can typecast the answer. Into int 6. I think that would work. Typecasting the answer. Submit, because the format was wrong. Yeah, now it is cool. Typecasting the answer. Accepted. After Luntik, Moncha and math. Moncha. Mocha, not Moncha. Mocha and math. Mocha is a young girl from high school. She has learned so much interesting knowledge from her teacher, especially her math teacher recently. Mocha is learning about binary system and very interested in bitwise operations. This day, Mocha got a sequence A of length n, e, and each operation she can select an arbitrary interval left to right, and for all values I uh, in the sequence that no, not in the sequence that she chose. She chooses an interval, okay, and left and right, and okay, and the length of that interval is deciding I. Okay, that is interesting. And replace, shit, okay, every element from left to right, but not including left and right. At the same time, replace AI with AL plus I with AL plus I, and okay, and of AL R minus I. Okay, I have a sequence left and right, and okay, and left and right are included. So take their and replace the left one with the and from the right one. Okay, okay. Where and denotes the bitwise AND operation. This operation can be performed any number of times. Okay, for example, in this array we have this, and once it selects interval 2 to 5, then the new array is at the same time. Okay, okay, makes sense. 2 and 5, so I start from 2 till 5, and 2 becomes equal to uh, 2 L and K. Okay, okay, I replace them with there, and now Mocha wants to minimize the maximum value in the sequence. Minimize the maximum value in sequence. As her best friend, can you help her to get the answer? Okay, how many times can she do this? This operation can be performed any number of times. Okay, and mhm, mhm, mhm. I'll put in the minimal value of the maximum value in the subsequence. Okay, if I have 2 in this, the answer is 3. In this, 11 and 7, I can take in this 15 and 11, take the AND of those two, and I get 15 and 11, take the AND, or maybe take the AND of the biggest and the smallest, and I get 15 and 3 would 3 is 1 1 and 15 is 1 1 1 1, so I get 1 1 0 0, which is 1 2 4 plus 8, which is 12, and then 12 and 12. Shit, that didn't work out quite well. Okay, how do I begin to solve this thing? I need to find the smallest. I need to minimize the maximum value, and the maximum value in this case is 15. So I need to do something with 15 which makes it very small, and I can take its AND with 11, with 7, with 3, and then with 7. Okay, and if I take its AND with 11, 11 is 15 is 1 1 1 1, and 11 is 15 minus 4, that is 1 0 1 1, and after taking the AND I would get, so these will be converted to 4, and when they are 4, 7 is the largest value. Now I need to reduce 7 to something, and I can take 7's AND with 3 and with 4, and 7 is 1 1 1, taking 7's AND with 4 would be 1 0 1, which is not big, but with 3 it would result in making it equal to 3, right? Making it equal to 3. So take the AND with the small shit. If I were to take the AND of 15 with 3, 15 would become equal to 3. 15 would become equal to 3. And then I would have 11 as the smallest. Then I can take, yeah, I just take the AND with the smallest, and I would get the smallest number. Right. And does not increase the value, it simply decreases the value of any number. And here I need to reduce the value of 15, and taking AND of the largest and the smallest would result in something smaller than the smallest or equal to the smallest. Then I'll take AND of the resulting value with this 7, with then with 11, or maybe with 11, because 11 is then the largest. So okay, I can take them and then sort them. Is that right? Sorting them do some good? No. uh, I can take the smallest and take its and with the largest, possibly, or shit, I can take the and of the whole array, and that would be my answer. Shit, fuck yes. I can take the, no, 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 no. No, that would not be the answer, because I'm dealing with left and right, so that is not the correct way to go over this. Left and right. Okay, what this would mean is, let's say I'm doing, okay, so is there a way by which I can take the AND of this whole thing, of every element, of all the elements, and replace all the elements with the element with the resulting and that would be my answer in this case. All of them are even, all of them are odd, so the answer will be odd, that is a given. And all of them have 1 at 2's place. So that is true. Cool. That is, we have the 3 in the as the smallest, and it has 1 on 0's and on 2's place. So that is why it is 3. So by this, can I have a way to take the AND of numbers? I can take AND of this, and these, both of these will be replaced by the and then take AND of these two, and that will be replaced by that, by the AND of these three. Nope, nope. And of this thing with this thing will result in the original thing, and this thing would change, and then I can take the AND of this and this, and then the AND of this and this. Can I make them equal? Then I can take the AND of this, of these. Okay, I can take the AND of these two, and they will become equal. Then I can take the AND of these two, they will become equal. Then I can take the AND of these two, and this will become equal. This and this will become equal. Or instead of equal, I should think of them in terms of reduced. I can take the AND of 1 and 2, and they will result in something lower than 1 and 2. And I can take the AND of this whole thing, and it will result in something lower than 1, 2, and 3. And then I can take the AND of these. Yeah. Okay, so my goal would be to reduce the largest one. Yeah, yeah, it is doable. I can keep taking the AND of the first character with sliding R over till the end, and by the end I would have at the first place AND of the whole array, and if there is any number that is larger than A1, then I can take the AND of that number with A1. I can just do this, repeat the whole thing again, and since I can do the operation any number of times, then we are cool to go. And the answer would be just taking the AND of this whole thing. The answer for this thing would be 1, I suppose, and it is 1. And the answer for this thing is 1, is 3, and the answer for this thing is 3. That is cool. So yeah, I just have to take the AND of these numbers, int n and the current number, and 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 cn, and that is the size of the array, right? Right. And repeat less I 0 n and cn to c, not less like this one. What is the problem? Expected. Okay, and is something. Cn to c and an equals c initial, and then take bitwise and in C++. How do I take bitwise and in C++? A single and. Okay, and so and equal or equals C and C out, and a new line. It should be correct, and it is correct. And yeah, we seem to be good to go. And A, Mocha, and math. Select A, Mocha, and math. Submit. I've done 3 problems till now up until this point. It is in queue. It is running, keeps on running. Okay, and it is accepted. Now, exciting bets. Let's see. Exciting bets. A. Welcome to Rockport City. It is time for your first ever race in the game against Ron. Welcome to Rockport City. It is for your first time ever race in game in the game against Ronnie. To make the race interesting, you have bet $8 and Ronnie has bet $B, but the fans seem to be disappointed. The excitement of the fans is given by GCD, greatest common divisor of A and B, where GCD X and Y denotes the greatest common divisor of integers X and Y. To make the race more exciting, you can perform two types of operations. First, increase A and B both by 1, okay, and decrease A and B both by 1. This operation can only be performed if both A and B are greater than 0, okay. In one move, you can perform any of these operations. You can perform arbitrary, possibly zero number of moves, determine the maximum excitement the fan can get and the minimum number of moves required to achieve it. Okay, the greatest common divisor, I would like it to be equal to the smaller among the two, either A or B, and to do that, okay, what do I have to return? I have to return the great. Okay, here the difference is 3, so I would like to reduce these two in such a way that, yeah, in such a way that this becomes twice of the, we reduce this by 2, both will be reduced by 2, and shit, the distance is 3. So ideally I would want this 5 to be turned into 3, and by then 8 would be turned into 6. The answer should be 3, and automatic output. If for each test case, print a single line containing two integers. If the fans can get infinite excitement, print 0 0. Otherwise, the first integer must be the maximum excitement fan can get, and second must be the minimum number of moves required to achieve that excitement. Minimum. Okay. Okay. Take the smaller number and see how greatest common user is 4. If they can get infinite excitement, they can get infinite excitement only in the case that both of them are equal, and if both of them are equal and both of them can go down to 0, and the excitement would be infinite. I can multiply 0 by infinity sort of to get 0. So that is cool. That is one case. And in the general case, I would have one of the numbers is smaller than the other one, and then I would see how far away the remainder of that smaller number with the difference between the larger and the absolute difference between the two numbers and the remainder, and I would see if either by increasing or decreasing by if the remainder is greater than half of the distance between them and the absolute difference between them, then I would like to increase, and the number of steps would be the difference minus the remainder. And otherwise, if the remainder is smaller than half the distance, then the remainder would be the number of moves, and the GCD would be equal to the distance between them, the absolute difference between them. I guess that makes sense. At least it does in my mind. And wait, what is the input? And two numbers for in every line, A and B. Okay, A, B, and for me, I would like diff and GCP, diff and ref. Let's see, P in A into B, and then I have A and B, and diff equals absolute of A minus B, and then wait, if first if diff equals 0, then I can just see out 0 space 0 with underline, and else if that is not the case, else uh, diff, right, I need to find the minimum number of moves. I already know A greater than B. If A is greater than B, then remainder would be B is the smaller, so I need to get B to someplace, right? Mm-hmm. Right. I would like to get either B or A. Does not matter. Does not matter. Does not matter. Does not matter. Yeah, yeah. Else rem equals A remainder diff, and if rem either can be odd or even, and if rem is greater than diff by 2, greater than diff by 2. If rem is greater than diff by 2, and let's say diff is 3, like in this case diff is 3 and diff by 2 would mean 1.5, and remainder is 1, which is smaller, and if remainder of 2 it would be bigger, then we are good to go in that case. But if it is even, then I might have remainder as if the diff is 4, I might have diff by 2 as 2, and if it is 2, then remainder is 2. I would like to go back. So even if it is equal, then I would like to retreat, and if it is greater, then it wouldn't matter. Okay, yeah, if this is the case, then I'd like to do what I would like to do is 1 2. If I'm there, then increase by 1, increase by 2, subtract 1 2, subtract 1. Yes, okay. See out, or maybe like here I will have diff is the GCD, and moves is uh, diff minus rem, and diff is doesn't have two f's. Else moves is rem. Now let's see out. Moves space rem, not rem. Shit, what the heck? uh, Go back. Diff with the similar, and then moves backslash run cvp run, and that is correct. Let's see. It is a exciting bets. Choose a exciting bets. This is the one. Submit, and let's see. Is anyone who is preparing for IOI? Not me. I is Nan Agarwal from Delhi. You from shit. Hey, hey, you are having chat. That is cool. It is in queue, and wrong answer on test 2. That is horrible. What is the case? Expected this, found this. I guess I didn't see integer limits. Integers, yeah, power 18. So I have to change all of these to be int 6. Right, now it should be cool. Now it should be cool, and yep, it is cool. Accepted. Exciting bits and bad boy. That I guess would be the last question for the day. Shit, I did 4 questions in 44 minutes. That is not good, but not impressive, but fine. Riley. Riley Reeds is bad boy. Riley is a very bad boy, but at the same time, he is a yo-yo master due to some reason. So he decides to use his yo-yo skills to annoy his friends. Anton, Andrei, Karyakin, Hurricane. Anton's room can be represented as a grid with n and m coordinates. Let ij denote the cell in ith row and jth column. Anton is currently standing at position ij in his room to annoy Anton. Riley decides, okay, Anton is currently at position ij, and to annoy Anton, Riley decides to throw you exactly to exactly two yo-yos in cell of the room, decides decides to throw exactly two yo-yos in cells of the room, they can be in the same cell. Okay, because Anton doesn't like yo-yos thrown on the floor, he has to pick up both of them and return them back to the initial and return back to the initial position. The distance traveled by Anton is the shortest path that goes through the position of both users and returns back to ij by traveling only to adjacent by side cells. That is, if he is in cell xy, then he can travel to, okay, adjacent, not diagonal, but in horizontal or vertical direction is the only move he can make if a cell with those coordinates exists. Riley is wondering where he should throw these two euros so that the distance traveled by Anton is maximum because he is very busy. He asks you to tell him. Okay, okay, and the only line of each test case contains NM and IJ. Uh, the dimensions of the room, NM, and the cell at which Anton is currently. For each test case, print four integers x1, y1, and x2, y2, the place, the coordinates where the two viewers should be thrown. Okay. Okay. So they should be like on the opposite side of the goddamn room or the fucking room. That would be the ideal case. Hmm. Okay, first I will take him to the shortest path. He will like to take the shortest path. Mhm. So he will go and first of all pick up one yo-yo, and then he would go and pick up the second yo-yo, and then from that second position he would go back to his initial position. That is the thing. So I have to maximize three distances. First, the distance between the first yo-yo and his initial position, then the distance between the first yo-yo and the second yo-yo, and then the distance between his initial position and the second yo-yo. So I think the answer would be two. They could be thrown in the same cell is does not sound too good. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, I can expand that. Yeah. You can only move vertically or horizontally. So, yeah. So I guess the answer would be something like I can take his initial position as, yeah, I can take his initial position as one side of a rectangle and then find the furthest side of the rectangle, and then what I can do is throw one yo-yo here and the other anywhere on the path. Or I can fucking increase the size of the rectangle by throwing one yo-yo like this and then the other to the other side of the room, preferably on the other, like literally on the other side of the room. Increase the size of that rectangle. Yeah, what is the biggest rectangle that I can have? Uh, yeah, for that rectangle, this point is 1 point. Okay, so do I have to consider the initial position? His initial position? No, it does not matter. His initial position does not matter. If he can get to the farthest side of the room, right? If he can get to the furthest side of the room, then mm, inside this rectangle, he should be able to get back to his position, to his position, and he should be able to cover every single square between in that square. So what I would want is in maximize the area of this square and the area of the other square. And what that would mean is it would allow me. Okay, so the answer, shit, this should not be hard. I have his initial position really does not matter, but the coordinates of the room do. And okay, if the coordinate is at one of the ends, then yeah, in this one, but in here, in this, he is initially at 1 1. The room size of the room is by like 2 3. So in this case, if he is at one of these squares, then doesn't matter. I can put both the views on one place. Since he has to go back, he would go back. Right. Uh, okay. Boilerplate. Int n m x x y. Thing n m x x y. Not n m. Let's say column row column row. Now, if x equals y, if x equals y, right, and if x equals y, wait, no, yeah, if it is at one of the corners. So, wait, can I look for pairs in, if I make a vector of, or an ordered set of pairs, then can I look for pairs in there? I don't really need that. If x equals 1, okay, let me write just all of these cases. If x equals 1 and y also equals 1, that is one of the case. Or if x equals n and y equals 1, that is another case. Or wait, I don't have an n, I have a row. First is column and then is row, right? Yeah, 1 2 1 2 3 2 3 2 3. First is column, then is row. No, first is row, second is column. Row column. If r equals 0 and y equals 1, and other case is when x equals 1 and y equals column, and the last case would be x equals row and y equals column. And shit, instead of taking them like this, I would like to take them in another way. Yeah, shit. Answer for all of them would be different. It can have a mathematical formula. If this is the case, then I need to find out the maximum. Yeah, if that is the case, then absolute difference between the maximum x furthest. I need to go furthest from x. And I think a better way to check this would be if x equals 1 or x equals row, and at the same time we have x y equals 1 or y equals column, right? I guess that is a better way to check it. And now if I either have x1 or r, and if I have x1, then I would like to take the resulting both the rows at the same place. And okay, in answer x, comma answer y. If answer x equals question mark x equals 1, if that is true, if x is equal to 1, then I would like to have answer x becomes equal to rho, otherwise it becomes equal to 1. And answer y, same thing for answer y. If y is equal to 1, then it becomes equal to column, otherwise it becomes equal to 1. And see out, I'd like to see out answer x with some space, and then answer y, and then some space, then answer x, then one space, and then answer y, and then new line. Now, if that is not the case, then I would like to take it to the opposite ends of the room, take the users on the opposite ends of the room, and then my answer of course would be equal to 1 space 1 for the first one, and then r, yeah, and then yeah, that would be the answer in every case, right? R column backslash n. Shit, isn't this the answer for every case? 1 1, and then row, and then column, the maximum row and the maximum column. Just throw them on the opposite sides of the board, and it does not matter. Go there like that, go there like that, and go there. We'll be able to go anywhere, and then go there. Would have been better if it were there to go there anyway, and would have to go back anyway. Yeah, I guess this should work. Be bad boy. Hello, brother. When you still here? Yup. Oh shit, weapon gone. You in machine learning? I have read a, read some things about machine learning. I have watched Andre Karpathy's video on machine learning, not the full thing, but only the starting, and it was pretty good. And that is all I know about machine learning. So not much, but I will at some point, maybe after college, because I want see that is the answer, because I want to understand it in at a good level, and that takes energy, and I cannot read and get into all of these things simultaneously. And I also have a very nice book that I bought. Link the video and subscribe to the channel. Shit, that is the moderator in the chat. Yeah, official moderator for my channel. And now we will try to do this question, which we struggled on last time. And then I have a really good book. It is called GEB, Gödel Escher Bach, and it is pretty good. This one is called B Eric Learning Technique. B Eric Learning Technique. This was what I thought would be the answer, but it is not an answer. Array cloning technique. You are given an array A of an integer. Initially, there is only one copy of the initial array, and yeah, how to make all of them equal to 0, right? Yeah. I have to make all of them equal to 0, and that would be, where did it go wrong? It exceeded time. Yes, that was the error. My algorithm was correct, but it exceeded time. It has higher time complexity than it should. Why? Okay, initially I'm just taking in input, so that is cool. That is like, there's auxiliary time. That is the time that I'm taking to get the input, and then there is no, auxiliary time is the time that I'm taking to get to run my process, and then there is like this inbuilt time which I have to give to increase the font size a little bit. I can increase the font size a little bit. Yeah. So this is the thing that is taking time. If n greater than equal to mx, and what the fuck is this happening here? Hmm. So I have something called mx, and every time I'm increasing it by 2 and adding it to this. So I have to turn this into a equation, mathematical equation. Okay, only 1 second. So the mathematical equation would be something like this. Uh, summation summation of x, or wait, the series would be like x plus 2x plus 4x plus 8x. Now I can take x common. I would have 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8, and dot 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 plus dot 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 plus dot dot dot, and this, uh, what is the answer to this summation shit? 1 a square plus b square plus c square, a square plus, uh, I'm multiplying it by 2. Shit, what is the summation of the series? Sum of series 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 16. What is the sum? I have, shit, of course, shit, this is GP. Yes, this is G, geometric prog progression. I'm multiplying every step by, and I do not remember the summation formula at the top of my head. So what I can do is maybe try to derive it. And I have, and I won't be able to derive it, I think. Yeah, yeah, I won't be able to derive it. Seems like summation of GP. This R is how many I want, and shit, no, R is the power. Okay, our case R is 2, so R is greater than 1, and we would have A, the initial term, bracket R power n minus 1 divided by R minus 1. R is 2, so 2 minus 1 is 1, and A, initial term, is 1, or mx in our case, x, and x, yeah, x, simply x. X is being, no, not x, initial term is 1, and yeah, initial term is 1. We are multiplying it by 2, and shit, initial term is mx, and then mx bracket 2 power n minus 1, and we want this to be greater than, so we have summation equals a into r power n minus 1 whole thing, uh, divided by r minus 1. And for our case, a is equal to mx and r is equal to 2, so 2 power n minus 1 divided by 2 minus 1 is just 1. So this is our case, and what we would like to have is make this greater than or equal to the length of the array, which is n, right? N. Okay, and we have to find the value of n. Shit, it is overlapping. So let's call this c. So to find the value of c, let's open this. 2 power n, or maybe mx into 2 into 2 power n minus mx, or more like greater than equal to c minus mx, then c plus. Yeah, that is the formula. That is the formula. Shit, I changed my key sequence. That is why it is misbehaving a bit. Mx, and then to find the value of n, can I divide both sides by mx? I think I can, because mx is positive. So 2 power n greater than equal to c divided by mx plus 1, and 2 power n. How do I find 2 power n? I want to take n below. I want to find the value of n, so I can take log. I think, yeah, log would also work. Log would also work because it gives positive values for positive, and it is always increasing. So I think that would also matter. Log n, and it would mean n goes outside. So log 2 n into log 2, and my answer would be something like this. Control Z, this whole thing divided by this, divided by log 2. So n, so, and to get the minimum integer, okay, I will find this and take the ceiling of this thing. Okay, yeah. So my required n is ceiling of this function. Makes sense? Yes, it does. Wait, how is this? Does this work? No, the whole thing changes. Yeah, that is cool. Ceiling of, so instead of doing all of this, swaps is equal to that, and max. Yes, the swaps is just that. Swaps is just swaps, and copy would be equal to n, like this n that we are trying to find, which is equal to ceiling of ln, logical not, or log is a function. Log, wait, log of, yeah, log of 10 would also work, doesn't matter. Yeah, does not matter. Log of 10 divided by log base 10 of c divided by mx plus 1. Log base 10 of c divided by, wait, what is c? C is nothing. mx, one bracket here, divided by, wait, divided by nothing. Just add 1, and ceiling of this thing divided by log of 2. Hmm. Let's see, does it, wrong answer. Oh, it gave 3 here and 6 here. That is okay. I think what I can have is ceiling. Do I want the ceiling or the minimum? No, I do want the ceiling, but n can be also equal to that thing. Right, ceiling. Ceiling would give me the greatest integer, because I also want this thing to there. So this should have worked. Ceiling and floor. I think this will break. Yeah, wrong answer for this, and the answer for these two is correct now. Okay, we are getting there. We have some equal to this, and this we want this sum to be greater than or equal to C. Wait, to be greater than or equal to C, is that it? No, 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 not to be greater than equal to be greater than equal to C minus mx. That is the initial one. No. What if, what if mx is greater than C? In that, what if mx is greater than C, and if mx is greater than C, what would be the value of n? Let's say C is equal to mx, and then here we would have 2mx, and then dividing by mx, we would have 1. Yeah, we would have 2, and 2 power n. Well, ideally in that case we should have the answer as 0, but in this 2 power n equals 2 would be when it is equal to 1. So yeah, so I can do is C minus mx, or more like my n minus mx. Mm, wrong answer for all these two. Okay, and take the ceiling because I already have it, so I have to reduce it once. Makes sense. Yes, and the answer is B, array cloning. Choose fine. B, array cloning technique. Let's go. Ahmed Zulfikar, how to build a strong logic in programming. I don't know, solve problems. Logic. Wrong answer. Not that it is taking more time, but wrong answer. Yeah, solve problems and yeah, solve problems. Try to think logically and maybe watch some anime that are logical, like Code or Death Note, Attack on Titan. Code is good. Wrong answer. 507 number. If I expected this, found 37. So it found a number that is greater, bigger than what was expected. And of course, I won't be able to see the array because it is like two. It is not there. Okay, mx is the number of zeros that I already have. So what I want, the target is, oh shit. So since I already have mx, and if mx, then mx is 0, and okay, c minus mx, and for our example, c equals to mx, so this would just be equal to mx and 1, so yeah, 0, that would be cool. And if c is equal to 2mx, let's say c is equal to 2mx, then we will have a 3, 3 when this goes on below there, so 2 power n equals 3, and that would greater than equal to 3, and that would only be equal when n equals 2. No, shit, that would be wrong. N cannot be equal to 2. 3, right? Yeah, that would be wrong. N should not be equal to 2. Since C, no, C is equal to 2x, right? So equal to 2, and shit, that is cool. That is cool. Yeah, yeah. Since I already have mx and C is equals to 2mx, I would have answer 1 plus the number of swaps. Swaps is n minus mx. I am putting the number of swaps. Shit, yes, that makes more sense. Swaps. I want swaps. Yes, makes sense. Uh, there's something wrong with this. Uh, yeah, swaps is the thing that I wanted to get at. And for our case, is equal to this. Let's call this, replace this by s, and s means number of swaps. And right, this is sum, and I want this sum to be either equal to or greater than the number of swaps, and r is equal to 2. This is true. 2 minus 1 is 1, and a initially I started mx, and mx multiplied to n, and swaps multiply minus goes there, becomes plus, and then divide. So s divided by mx plus 1, and take the log on both sides. Write it down. 2 power n greater than equal to s divided by mx plus 1, and then take the log ln mod of 2 into ln of n greater than equal to ln of s divided by mx plus 1 plus 1, and yep. No, shit, no, 2 goes inside, n goes outside, because n is higher in power, and then ln s by mx plus 1 divided by ln 2, and take the ceiling of that function, because I can only have integer number of divisions, and that is what I've written here. Ceiling log swaps divided by mx plus 1 divided by log 2. Shit, and it doesn't work. Everyone, Gupta, hi Chetan, thanks for sharing your knowledge. Can you also share your Vim setup for CP that you are using? Yes, for the CP, what the heck is that? For CP, this is like, it is basic Vim setup. What I can do is I have Clang D as my LSP, and wait, I'm using tmux, control D, detach, and or config and Vim, and wait, I can push it up to GitHub. Status git add everything, git commit message made changes, and git push, and the link to my Vim is https://github.com/jetpins. Let me just go there, put an Raghav and vimrc. That is the link to my GitHub setup. You can just copy paste this if this is exactly what you want. How do you run test cases from your setup? I have a plugin. That plugin is called Assistant Newim. Here in plugins, this one, Assistant Newim. It is, I guess, written by an Indian dude and Indian person, and this is an extension which you need to have in your browser on which you are running CP, and yeah, this parses the text on the page, and somehow some magic happens, and this plugin tells your new Vim that there is this code forces problem that I'm trying to solve, and the solutions, the questions and their solutions get target CP. Let me show you. Yeah, in this AST folder, there this plugin creates this folder called .ast, a hidden folder, AST for assistant, and in this folder it downloads in JSON format the files which contain the problems, questions and answers, the inputs and outputs. That is cool. That is how I run. Can I check the commit? Thanks a lot. I can check. Yeah, you can check the commit. Thanks a lot for pushing. You are awesome. thank you, but like I had to push it so that I could have it if my computer breaks. And now this one. Input. The input consists of multiple. Shit, shit, I went blank for a second. Okay, this is the thing, and the formula seems correct, but it is unable to solve this thing. My output was wrong by one. Hmm. Ceiling. Is it the case when it is exactly equal to the number of ones I want? No, no. Even if that is, then I would get a perfect integer out of this thing, and the ceiling function wouldn't do any bad things. Mx is the amount of zeros that I have. Shit, what the fuck is this? Shit, what was I even trying to do there? I just need to count the number of zeros that I have. Right. Yeah. It's not the amount of zeros, the maximum amount of numbers that are maximum. Yeah. Shit, so yeah, this is correct. This is correct. This is correct. mp.count, that is, if I already have this thing, instead of count, let me do what is a faster thing, unordered map. Constant time look up in unordered map. Which method can I call? Worst case scenario with the, well, the average is one. The worst case time for unordered map lookup is this. Because it, the same lookup algorithm is used in all the methods that I might use. Yeah, cool stuff. So I take the one that is appearing maximum, and then I am using this formula. If it seems to break at some point. Okay, it seems to be breaking at some point, but the formula is correct. It is just not working for a very particular case. No changes made. Shit, changes were made. Wrong answer on part 3. I guess, yeah, I guess at this point I can just go and see at the tutorial what the supposedly correct answer is. And yeah, it is part B. For this array cloning technique. Editorial. We will use a greedy technique. Let's find the most common element in the array. Let it be x and let it occur k times in the array. Then let's make a copy where all elements are x. Okay, to do that we make a copy of the given array and put all x in one array. And now we will repeat the algorithm for the new array until we get a copy with n numbers. That is what I have done. That is what I have done. Found mx, which is the element that is appearing maximum number of times. And then I have calculated this function. I'm using this function, but it is not working. Maths is not mathing at this point. And how long has it been? It's been just 1 hour and 24 minutes. My camera looks good today. 1 hour and 24 minutes tutorial is not helping me. So yes, I guess I would have to simulate the thing. N is the number of swaps, number that I want, and yeah, shit. While I need to increase mx, right? While mx is lower than swaps, what do I do? Mx multiply equals 2, and no copy, and end copy is initially 0, and yeah, I would also like to do shit, what the fuck, this cpy plus plus and this thing cpy plus plus, and mx gets increased by 2, and at the end increase m by 2 to, and then see, is this okay? Make one copy and mx is 2, so yeah, mx is represents the total zeros that I have, and I am comparing the total amount of zeros that I have with the number of swaps that I need to make. And if swaps is initially less than maximum zeros that I have, or like equal to, yeah, even equal to would work. Then this, and keep increasing by 2 at some point. Shit, the thing is, does it have to be less than swaps or less than n? I think it has to be less than, or I have to compare it with n. Yeah, compare it with n, and yeah, yeah, this seems better. This seems to run or not run. Depends. Right. N minus m is will be the number of swaps no matter what. And then copy. Shit, if it is equal, then don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, it's cool. Uh, B, array cloning. Submit. See, let's see. I guess it might work this time, or it might not work. It is running on test 13. Test 13 is the one in which it was on which it was taking longer, and now also it is taking pretty long. Time limit exceeded. Warum? Warum ist es so? Es funktioniert nicht. Ich, ich glaube, ich bin rechts, aber es funktioniert nicht. So I have to see how to make this work. Here I have 10,000 elements, and maybe, yeah, the constant lookup time is messing things up. This constant lookup time, the way that I'm taking in input, that is the part that I have to improve. The way that I am taking in input, so I have to be smart about this. How I'm doing this ordered map instead of ordered map. What can I have? An ordered map. What can I have? Something which is I can expand in memory, but like this. That is appearing maximum number of times. Right. What I can do maybe is take all of them in. What is the maximum number of? What is the maximum size of the array? It's 5 times 10 power 5. That is okay. I can have 10 power 5 integers. 10 power 5 is 100,000 100,000 integers. I can have 100,000 integers, and I can have an array of 100,000 integers, and then I can go through it. And how do I find the most? Shit, the data structure. Yeah, data structure has to be smarter than this. Mhm. Everything will have a shit. I'm thinking in terms of like a heap map. Can I have a heap in which no. How would I store two values in a heap? I would like to have a key and a value pair and compare it on in terms of the key and shit. No. Um, like that, and how do I see the most frequent element? I can sort it in n square times, and Yeah, it would be equal to n square. And I guess in this, what I'm doing is I'm taking in n one and then going through the array, then also again. So yeah, the time in this case also would be n square, and n square, that is 10 power 5, that is just at the borderline. The first line is number of test cases, n power 5, and yeah, that is the borderline. N power 5 is the maximum that my code can handle, and the one that it is breaking on, I think it is n power 5. The test case is, yeah, it is n power 5. N power 5. So I have to find a better lookup algorithm. A better lookup algorithm than n square. The tutorial doesn't say anything which algorithm or data structure I can use. Maybe we just go there and see if other people have had some insights. Also, thanks. Right, how many reading same? I still don't get it. You are right. Shit, people are talking. Thanks for the great explanation, but I think this would be something like 2 into n plus 1 would exceed this if n equals 30. Why GCD? Okay, they are talking about some other question. Start from can okay, someone explain D with more detail. Thanks for this rubbish trash. Shit, boring, disgusting, fucking meaningless problem. See that I didn't have enough time to write it. Shit, that is very pleasant. See, tree infection. Uh, we'll look into it later at some point, I guess. Thousands of people learned today not to use unordered map in conflict. Shit, that is what I'm saying. Unordered map. Yeah, shit. Yeah, I used to know about it. I used to, but I have been out of the game so long. The same it sucks that I am limits on this side asymptotically, and the other is and login. Well, personally, I don't think this is just something you need to know. For participating competitive program, I am competing against again after 3 years, and it's like welcome back, Lama. I mean, you could resort to GP hash table if you really need to use some sort of hash map. For which question I'm the TCP and unordered map, but I don't get. Yeah, you can use custom hash in your unordered map for safety. See this? Okay, I'll read that. Yeah, so this is like theoretical knowledge. Do not use unordered map. Yeah, because the time limit is tight. Okay, makes sense. My solution took 46 milliseconds, which is also using unordered map. We problem got TLE, time limit exceeded because of some other reason. Not sure though. The reason your solution is because you are using a slightly newer implementation, C++ 20 instead of C17. Try it with C17 compiler. Shit. Expert one knows his shit. I like the problem. I didn't like the time limit constraints. I mean, it is an algorithmic contest. So when you write ON solution instead of the intended n log n, you are supposed to pass, but no, since you are using the standard library of a specific implementation of a specific language, you fail even though your solution is correct and will pass if the system uses another implementation of the same language, or even if you selected another version from the dropdown. Let's give problems that exploit specific bugs in the language implementation. Yeah, so smart. I'm going to back timsert timsert bug. The timsert bug required too large inputs to be viable for a programming contest. It would make an awesome problem when you need to. Okay, so this one, blowing up unordered hash map. I'm also doing CPing and you suggest where to learn topics. I'm learning topics myself, and I have this book, Competitive Programmers Handbook. You can just go and download it. Competitive Programmers Handbook. Yeah, you can find the free PDF online, and read this. This is what I'm trying to read. I am currently not happy with my progress. I'm just like at mathematics section, which is like embarrassing. But yeah, this is what I'm doing. And another thing I'm doing is this Strivers sheet. And 2% completed. Shit, amazing, wonderful. Yeah, yeah, that is what I'm doing. The competitive programmer's handbook and Strivers sheet, two things. Increase the font, I guess. And it's been just 1 hour 36 minutes. That is cool. C++ has always had the convenient data structures from the standard template library STL, set, add, map, which are three tree data structures whose operations take login time. Right. Yes, I'm going to do something terrible. This, I guess it is okay. C++ has always had command data structures. With time this, with C++11, we finally received a hash set and hash map in unordered set and unordered map. Okay, do I understand till this much? Convenient data structures with, okay, set and map are implemented with trees, so their time is log n because the time depends on the height of the tree, and the height of the tree is log n. Okay, with supposing that every node has 10 different branches uh, going from it, right? So in log n, because with C++11 we finally receive a hash set and hash map in standard hash set and hash set. That is even better. And unordered map. Unfortunately, I have seen a lot of people on code forces get hacked, fail system tests when using these. Uh, in this post, I will explain how it is possible to break these data structures and what you can do in order to continue your favorite hash maps without worrying about being hacked. Yes, hash map is good because it gives constant time, and tree is good because it gives log n times. But in hash map, the amount of memory increases in trees. The amount of memory is not a lot, but in hash map, I would, yeah, if I have to add a new element and it cannot be added in any of the place in the hash map, then I would have to copy the whole hash map and get some new memory space in the RAM and paste it there and then add the new element there with the new space. But in trees, I can just get new node anywhere and get a pointer to it. So how are they hackable? We always assume hash maps are ON, but in cases when the amount of new coming data is distinct from the older one, so new entries need to be made in the hash map and the memory initial. Fucking hell, there is a competition today. And the memory given to hash to the data structure is exhausted, then a new memory is needed, and it has to have a more memory than the original one, and the original one has to be copied there, and the new element would be copied there, would be put there. And in that cases, the time complexity increases. So how are they hackable? We always assume hash maps are 0, 1. We go off constant per operation, insert, erase, access, etc. But this depends on a key assumption, which is that each time only runs into own collisions on average. If our input data is completely random, that is a reasonable assumption. Into one constant number of collisions on average, okay, but this is no longer a safe bet when the input isn't random, especially so if someone is adversarially designing inputs to our code, aka hacking phase. In particular, if they know our hash function, they can easily generate a large number of different inputs that all collide, thus causing an n square blow. Yes, colliding. Shit, yes. If I'm using a hash function and I'm using inputs, then my hash function would run on those inputs, and it would be expected that no two inputs return the same hash output. And if I'm intentionally trying to make inputs which should result in the same hash, then I can fuck it up. Okay, but I do not understand why does this blow up to n square. Okay, I'm just doing random questions of below this is my ID. That is cool. I my rating is lower than yours. Mine is just 420 at this point. 420. 420 is like drugs. And the answer of the universe. The answer to the universe is 42. We will prove that now by blowing up an ordered map in order. We will prove that now by blowing up an ordered map. Okay. In order to do that, we first have to determine exactly how it is implemented. For this, we can dig into GCC's implementation on GitHub. Shit. After some searching around, we run into unordered map.h. Inside the file, we can quickly see that unordered map makes use of detail mod range hashing and detail prime rehash policy. From this, we can suggest that the first map hashes the input value and then mods by a prime. Okay, and the result is used as the appropriate position in the hash table. Uh, Hash and then take a mod with a prime. Okay, taking a mod with a prime would mean that for every value, uh, for every value of the hash function of the hash output, if no two distinct values whose mod we are taking with the prime number will have the same mod since it is prime. I think that is correct. Now, from this we can guess that the map first hashes the input value and then take the mod. Some further searching for prime rehash policy leads us to this thing dot cc. Here we see that there is an array called prime list and the hash table has a policy to resize itself when it gets too large. So we just need to find this list of primes and the one include on the one on include on this included on this file leads us to this thing. Aha, here is the list we are looking for. One more thing, we need to know the hash function unordered map uses before modding by these primes. It turns out to be quite simple. The hash map uses standard hash, which for integers is simply identity function. What the fuck? Identity function is just the number itself. For integers, okay. Armed with this knowledge, we can insert lots of multiples of one of these primes to the map in order to get n square blow up. Not all of the primes would work, and though due to the resizing policy of the map, in order for a prime to work, we need the map to actually resize this prime at some point in its set of operations. It turns out that the right prime depends on the compiler version. This does the job, and for GC, this prime number does the job. Run the code below in custom locations and see what you get. Okay, what is the code? Using std number is 2 into 2 with 5 zeros at the end and void insert numbers long x and clock t. Yeah, begin the clock and then unordered map from long to integers and number less than. Okay, I'm going till to about 5 and then adding the number. Okay, make it equal to I long sum equals 0. Then for auto entry inside numbers, first add this. Okay, print this and then insert number. insert number this and this. Okay. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Don't want to be hacked. Yes, this is the part that I'm more interested in, and this is the one will take time to understand. Depending on which compiler version you are using, one of these two numbers will take much longer than the other. There are several other primes that also will try some for yourself. So that for hash tables like CGP hash table, see Chili's helpful post, it is even easier to hack them. Okay. These hash tables use a modular power of 2 policy. I can begin. Don't want to be hacked. This part. What so you think about backtracking questions? What are backtracking questions? Hedgehog, hedgehog, rider. What are backtracking questions? Let's look at how to safeguard these maps. And I keep looking at the time. Backtracking questions. Okay. This don't want to be hacked part. Let's look at how to safeguard these hash maps from collision wrecks. Yes. To do this, we can write our custom hash function, which we give to an ordered map or GP hash table. The standard hash function looks something like this: structure hash, and it has just this is fucking cool. I can have custom hash, and this is just a variable name, and I am changing this the operator parentheses on this thing to return a size t, which takes in this, and this is what it does. It constant. This constant. What does this constant mean? I think this constant means that either what it is returning or what it is taking in, one of these things is a constant, that is you cannot change it. And I think it is referring to this thing, that this thing, when I take this in, I cannot change it, and it is a constant. So this is what it means. And however, as we mentioned, any predicate any predictable deterministic hash function can be reverse engineered to produce a large number of collisions. So the first thing we should do is add some non-determinism via high precision to make it more difficult to hack. Well, we are adding some randomization to a hash function, then aren't we just fucked? Because a hash function should return the same hash no matter the thing, no matter the input. So what is this? Static static. It is. Should I will have to read the manual again for C++. Not the whole thing. I only read the first chapter and it was pretty instructive and I liked it a lot. But I will read it again now. It was quite a bit ago, like a month or two ago. Static constant integer this fixed random is chrono steady clock now dot time since epoch. Okay, dot count. Take time since the start of civilization, and civilization began, if you didn't know, on 1st of January 1971. That is when human history began. See my post on making random solutions unhackable. I'm not getting anything. Warrior hacking is done among high rated people. I think for us, it is of no use. I think it can be understood if you have like a good sense of abstraction, then it could be understood. Struct custom hash. Okay, you are adding some hash, some random value, but this would be wrong because this hash function would always return some other value instead of the original one, and that just defeats the point of having a hash function. see my post on making solutions unhackable for more detail. Awesome. So our hash function is perfectly safe now, right? Nope. Not so fast. All we have done is add the same fixed number to every input. Okay, this returns the same fixed number, I guess. Okay. All we have done is added the same fixed number to the input, but if two numbers A and B satisfy their mod with B, then adding a fixed number would just doesn't mean anything for every X as well. Similarly, similar problems occur for other very simple hash functions, multiplying by a random large odd number and overflowing is likely effective modulo P, but it will be problematic for GP hash table. It's power of two policy. The same situation occurs for XORing with a random number. XORing XORing is exclusive XOR with a random number. Okay, a slightly better hash function like the following may look enticing. This one, take a number and increase x to the power, or take XOR of x with that number. However, if you are using a GP hash table, this actually still leaves you susceptible to hacks from a strong enough add-or set. In particular, after inserting the numbers, this, this, and this, one less, take 1 to 16 left and add 1, take 2 to 16 left, that is just 1 0, move the binary ones, 1 at the second place to the 17th place, right? Now to the 18th place in this case, and in this case move the 1 and 1 at the ones and twos place to the 17th and to the 18th place, and then add 3. This has to be all the outputs would be equivalent to module 16. Do you know why? Equivalent modulo 16. Yeah, because it is going out. This one, pushing them 16 left, is going out of range, and since we are adding the same number again and again, so those ones that we pushed out of the range will not be seen, and we would only get the same thing. Yeah, makes sense. So we want a better hash function, ideally one where changing any input bit results in a 50-50 chance to change any output bit. 50-50 chance to change any output bit. Okay. Note, for example, that a hash function x plus fixed random, this property is not satisfied at all. For example, changing a higher bit in x results in 0% chance for changing a lower bit of the output. Right. Actually not getting this, not understanding this properly, and okay, I will be taking a break now, and yeah, I guess I will be ending the stream now. Not I guess, I know I will be ending the stream now. For today, I have already done 5 questions for the day. Yeah, 5 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did these 5 questions today. It was pretty cool. In this one, make it divisible by 25. Let me increase the size. Make it divisible by 25. I had to like write 4 or 5 conditions, and it was done in just that. And in this, Luntik and subsequences, yes, I had to find the number of subsequences, and the answer was find the number of ones, multiply that by 2 raised to the power of the number of zeros that I have, and that was the answer for this. Mocha and math, what was the question in this case? In this, uh, this is the question. Yeah, so yeah, in this, the trick was that I can change all of the numbers to I can take the AND of all the elements in the array and change all of the numbers to that and that would be the minimum number in the whole sequence possible. And exciting bits. This was about bits to people making bits, and yeah, I had to find out the GCD would be equal to the maximum GCD I could have would be equal to the lower among the two, either A or B, which were the bets made by two people. And yeah, that was the thing. And in Bad Boy, yeah, I had to just simply go to the opposite ends, and that did the thing. Like the solution for this thing is very trivial. Just this. Mm, just take in the input and then just output this 1 1 and R from in the like just go to the opposite, just throw the yo-yos on the opposite sides of the row. That would be also the intuitive solution. And yeah, that is the end of today's stream.